Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be talking about forest leads again. I was watching Das Glitch, which is another YouTuber, a little bit of a bigger YouTuber, has been doing it for a long time. And he came out with a video showing how you can make very basic forest leads inside Serum. And not that his approach was wrong, but there was something you might want to consider when you're doing his approach. So I've set up a project to kind of show you what I'm on about, and let's just jump into it. Alright, so here we have a very basic remake of the patch that he had. What we're basically doing is we're just generating a sine wave here, and as you can see, no effects, so nothing to worry about there. And the main portion of the sound actually comes from modulating it with the chaos oscillator. So how my chaos oscillator is set up is that it has a rate of 1/16. I've BPM synced it, I've set it to mono, which I'm not really sure what it does, but he did it, so I did it too. And the main thing is that you turn on your sample and hold. That means that instead of kind of moving between them like this, kind of, you know, rounding out the curves, it will just like step sequence like this. So together with some delay and reverb, you get this fairly nice sound here. Which is a very common and very nice forest lead. Now the main problem I have here is that it isn't in key. It is, if I press the G key on my keyboard, it's not going to play every note of the sequence it's generating in key. So here I want to introduce you to a concept which is called controlled randomness, where what it basically means is that you're generating random values but within a certain specification. So for our needs, the specification is that it's going to need to have only values for the sine wave or only frequencies within a certain key. So to achieve that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave this sound and we're going to start from scratch here, so you kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. And I'm just quickly going to open up a Serum, and we're going to select our sine wave here like this, and this is all we need to do inside Serum. We just need a sine wave. You can do more, of course, and that's why I always tend to open up Serum. If I want to go back into a sound and maybe edit it a little bit more, make it a bit more complex, I can go back in here. But for now, we just want to get a sine wave. Oh, the last thing we need to do is actually turn this randomness down. That kind of helps reducing clicks. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our MIDI clip here, and we're going to pick a key. So let's say I want to go in G again, because I liked it. I'm just going to put down a 1 octave chord, or not really chord, but basically all the notes that go into 1 octave of a G minor scale. So this would be the G minor scale from G up until F, which is the last note in that key. And then we're just going to turn them up a few octaves. Maybe we want to get an octave lower as well. So we'll pick this one and we'll move it an octave down. So now, as you can see, if I open up this thing and show you the MIDI clip, we have this whole bunch of notes which are all in the key of G here. So we have a G minor, whole bunch of notes, and now we need to randomly select between them. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the arpeggiator, and we're going to set this to random ones. Now there's 3 random modes, and I'm actually quickly going to go over them. This will generate a random value for each note, so it might repeat itself or something like that. This will generate a random note, but it will never repeat, so it will always pick a different note than the note it just played. And this one, I believe what it does is it looks at the whole thing and generates random notes for the whole chord. So no 2 notes in the sequence will be the same. So even if there is like 3 or 4 between them, you'll never land on the same chord again. So we're going to also set this to the rate of 1/16. And we're going to pick our delay and reverb. And now if we play this one, you can see that it's much more melodically pleasing and that it's much nicer to listen to just because it's in the key that we want. And you might want to turn the gate up a little bit, maybe like almost at 100%. I don't want them to overlap. So now we have a much nicer sound just because they're all notes that, or all tones that are in the key of G minor. So they kind of make sense all together. Another thing I wanted to show you with this controlled randomness is using velocity to maybe turn off and on your notes so you can make like a randomized sequence of them. So what I'm going to do is after the arpeggiator, I'm going to drop down a velocity. I'm going to set the velocity or the out high to 63 as well as the out low. And what you can see is that now has created a line here in the middle. So basically you need to see this as a graph. These are the incoming velocities and these are the outgoing velocities, or the other way around. I don't really remember how it is, but it will, I believe it's like this is the incoming and it will remap them to this axis. So all the notes that are incoming in this axis will be remapped to 63. But now what we can do is we can turn on the randomness and it will randomly select a velocity for each input independent on what our input velocity is. So we'll basically just generate random velocities here. Now what we can do with this information, if we go here, we can take this graph and we can kind of use it as a binary 1 or 0 element. What we can do is we can add 2 points and we'll put one down here and we'll put the other one down here. If you hold Alt, it will actually snap to the grid, so that will help you there. And we can take this and then add it to our volume. So it will either be full volume or it will be turned off. We kind of need to compensate for the extra volume a little bit, and I don't want it to be too loud for you. So this is what this sounds like. You can hear that we now have different kind of random velocities or random patterns in the inside what we have here. So basically every 16th note it will have a random chance between either playing it or not playing it. It's a 50-50 in this case. If you want that probability to be a little bit higher, what you can do is you can actually go back in here and just extend the amount of ones that there are. Again, you need to see this as a graph where this is the incoming line and this is the outgoing line. So we'll take any value. If it's very low, then it will stay at 0. And if it's a slight bit higher, it will snap it to 1, therefore turning up the modulation and actually playing the sound. So you can hear that this has a little bit more notes, and if we turn it this way, you get a little fewer notes. So that's fairly cool, and it's a cool thing, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. If you have any other questions or things you would like me to cover, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.